Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the ITB team for our first webinar this evening. My name's Claire Fitzinger, and I'm the Marketing and Sustainability Director here at Into the Box. You'll be meeting the team today, getting to know us a little bit better, as well as learning more about how ITB came to be, our company values, and our company strategy. We'll also be having a Q&A at the end of our webinar, and throughout the presentation, if you have a question, drop it in the Q&A box on the bottom right of your screen. On the webinar with me today is our co-founder and president, Chris Wortko, and our co-founder and vice president, Maya Bobshow. Chris holds a JD from Emory Law and has worked in sales, legal development, and marketing roles across the real estate industry. When the pandemic hit, Chris converted an old shuttle bus into a tiny off-grid home, sparking the concept for Into the Box. Maya is a California real estate broker and is currently a sales operations manager for Trust Properties USA, the leading probate and trust real estate brokerage in California. Super excited to have her on the team. And a little bit about me. Before joining the Into the Box team, I worked in the environmental nonprofit sector where I focused on US decarbonization and grid electrification. It's been a lot of fun being able to utilize my past marketing experience while also building our ITB sustainability values and strategy. And we're all UCLA alums, which is really exciting. We actually all met during undergrad at UCLA, so it's really exciting to be here with you all today. And why we're here is to reveal that Into the Box is planning on going public. And we're so excited to finally be sharing this news with you all. Chris will talk more about what that means in just a moment. And throughout this webinar, you'll learn why ITB is a great addition to anyone's investment portfolio.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Claire. Like she said, we are so excited to be able to finally share this news with you. That ITB is currently testing the waters for a Regulation CF offering via Net Capital. So essentially what that means is we're currently going through the paperwork with the SEC and right now trying to gauge potential investor interest and, get a feel for what the market might think of our concept. So with that said, before we get into anything, I do want to throw a couple disclaimers up there. I know it's not fun. You can take it up with legal. But the point here is that throughout this presentation, there may be some forward-looking statements. Of course, those are not promises. Additionally, we are not currently actively raising, so please don't send us money. We have to send it back. That was not my choice. I was told I can't keep it. And finally, if at any point you do suggest that you might be interested in an investment, that is in no way binding at this point. So with all that said, let's get into it.
Hi guys, I'm Maya. I'm the vice president at Into the Box. And if you guys are new here and you're just learning about us, this is our rendering for the concept that we are building. So Into the Box is recycling shipping containers into themed pop-up vacation rentals in off-the-grid locations across the country. So here's a sample rendering of what is in the works in the next slide. So here's an example of our one-bedroom Parisian cafe bedroom box, and it'll drop you right in the middle of Paris. So we have several themes in the works, and we're excited to engage with you guys and see what themes you're interested in seeing, and we'll revisit some more boxes shortly. So we're addressing a big change in the US hospitality industry, and number one, we saw a report from Lufthansa Innovation Hub that in 2021, there was 44 billion invested into travel startups, which is up from 2020 figure of 23 billion. And the shift in the hospitality industry that's happening is greatly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. So that hotel industry is not expected to make a full recovery until 2024. And there's a big change in traveler preferences. People don't want the cookie cutter hotel accommodations anymore. They want more private lodging. They want a unique off the grid experience. And There's another shift towards regenerative travel, which we're going to dive into more a little bit later, but our goal is to be as sustainable as possible, and we're excited to be part of that movement. So with that, Chris, you want to get into traveler preferences?
Absolutely. Yeah. So kind of to take a deeper dive into what Maya was getting at there with the pandemic, it's really wreaked havoc on this industry. Um, but I think there's a silver lining there. So what's been really interesting is now enough time has elapsed where some studies have been done and polls have been taken to see, okay, in a COVID or pandemic world, where are people okay with traveling? And what's really interesting is these polls are showing that far and above anything else, 46% of respondents say that off-grid locations they would deem to be safe and would feel comfortable staying in, even in the midst of a pandemic. I'll point out for you, that compares to only 16% feeling that way about large hotels. So it's a pretty large difference here, what we're talking about. Additionally, we're seeing a rise in domestic travel. We're looking at these international restrictions coming and going and ebbing and flowing by the month, by the week, and people just aren't booking those international trips 6, 12 months out anymore. They don't know if they're going to be able to take them. So instead, they're staying right here in the USA. And again, it's kind of an opportunity amidst all the chaos, we think, looking at this rise in off-grid stays and this rise in domestic travel.
So here is our mission statement and how we're going to address this shift. Into the Box is saying goodbye to hotel hell by creating one-of-a-kind themed pop-up lodging experiences while bringing environmental sustainability through regenerative tourism to the $600 billion hospitality industry. So we're creating themed pop-up vacation rentals while promoting environmental sustainability, which is at the core of our values and what we're aiming to do. And we're also addressing the shift in the hospitality industry at large and the trend of off-the-grid vacations. So here's an example of another themed box. This is our future box. It's a 2-bedroom. It can accommodate a family, a group of friends, and another box we have in the works is here. It is our 2000s box. So throwback, you guys. We love to do themes that are in decades. We know that there's big cult followings for those. And this is another one that we have in the works.
So as you can see, this outside view of what our boxes will look like, you can see that on the right of the picture, we have a 20-foot container. And on the left side, we'll have our 40-foot container. And a little bit to dive into the boxes, they're apartment-style accommodations with all the amenities you're used to having in your own home. They will have fully equipped kitchens, Wi-Fi, and other amenities specific to box themes. And the 40-foot container, for example, will have 2 separate suite-style bedrooms.
Yeah, sorry, I jumped the gun on you there. So, really, we see 3 major issues right now with the hospitality industry that we think are not only huge, but are opportunities that we can solve. Those are the mundanity, the climate crisis, and the outdated business model. And what we mean by that is when it comes to the mundanity, the average hotel experience these days is so cookie cutter. If you walk into your average hotel room and I cover the logo, you have no idea what chain you're in. You don't even know if you're in Philly or Phoenix. And while that may have been comforting to prior generations, we're seeing that that's actually viewed as a negative now. And in terms of the climate crisis, obviously at this point, the science backs it up. Every industry needs to make some major changes if we're going to course correct onto a positive path. And the hospitality industry is no exception. We've seen a lot of hospitality companies, large corporations claiming to be very eco-friendly, and reality is that means they're taking away your shampoo bottle, they're washing your towels once every 3 days, and you really have to question, is that really having an impact, or is that lining their pockets? Is this a convenient buzzword? And then finally, with the outdated business model, the pandemic really showed us a new normal. And what I mean by that is an all-time record high number of remote workers. Studies have shown that up to half of the American workforce now is at least partly remote, and that's a trend that's not really going anywhere anytime soon. The downside to that is the line between your workspace and your home space is blurring. And hotels and the hospitality industry are ill-equipped to handle that blurred line and to respond to it and provide an accommodation option uh, that respects that new normal. And I think we have a real great opportunity here to be able to do that.
So going off of what Chris was talking about, people are really tired of cookie cutter, same old accommodations. We're building a brand that people are going to be excited to follow and see what the next up and coming theme is. They can follow us and see what the next box is that we're going to drop. And they're going to be able to also see our boxes all around the country. Our boxes are built to travel the country in a pop-up circuit, so we can constantly bring new experiences to people all around the nation, and also bring in repeat business, people who are a fan of our boxes and want to see what the latest and greatest designs are going to be. So up next, I will show you an example of another box. Here's our 70s theme. So again, we love to make boxes that appeal to decades. Just imagine yourself in these vibrant colors. There's a disco ball over the bed. This is something that you're never gonna find anywhere else. It's just, it's one of a kind. And then the next one, this is actually one of my favorites. It's a seasonal holiday box. This one is a 2-bedroom. It could also accommodate a family. And maybe we have a Hanukkah box coming soon too, guys.
I think it's got to be in the works. Kind of touching back on the climate crisis, we are committed to really reducing our environmental impact. And the biggest way we're going to do that is by being 100% off grid. So we're talking powered entirely with solar. We are currently in research and development on some rainwater catchment systems to help with that off grid. Because the bottom line is we believe that the solution needs to be less waste, not more. We've seen so many similar hospitality startups over the past couple of years that are maybe well-intentioned, but at the end of the day, they're still building a brand new product. They're cranking it out of a factory and they're creating more waste. Into the box, by contrast, is recycling containers. We're upcycling a lot of furniture. We are really doing our part to not only reduce our carbon footprint, but also reduce our industrial waste footprint as well. And what's really cool about that is it all ties into the new, I shouldn't say new, but the popularizing regenerative travel movement. Regenerative travel has really taken off during the COVID pandemic. And the idea behind it is simply that doing no harm is no longer enough. So, you know, the whole leave no trace mantra is out and leave it better than you found it is in. And this is more than just environmental. This is about the local economy, the local culture, the local people, and actually uplifting those economies, those communities, as opposed to exploiting them and their natural resources and what they have to offer. This is just such a huge, exciting opportunity for Into the Box and anyone who's on this journey with us to really be on the forefront of the regenerative travel movement, which we're only going to see continue to grow over the next several years. And what's really cool about all this is we are able to provide a guilt-free vacation experience. Studies are showing that particularly among Gen Z, among millennials, there is an ethical concern. There's a moral desire to stay in places, to essentially be in places and work with companies that are doing the right thing environmentally and are being sustainable. And so because we are able to provide that, we are able to provide a guilt-free experience to a generation that is increasingly valuing that.
So again, we are addressing an outdated business model. There's a whole group of people now who do not feel comfortable staying in crowded urban hotspots, which is why we aim to be off the grid in more remote areas. And we're also capitalizing on a huge shift of the work population as well. there are going to be tons of remote workers, and that's here to stay. And that was all spurred by the COVID-19 pandemic. And we want to give these people an opportunity to work and live in an inspiring environment and really switch up their home office location. People aren't tethered down to their dining room table anymore. They can really work from anywhere, and we're going to have the amenities in place to make sure that whether they're on vacation or getting some work done, they can do it in a into the box.
So one thing that I think is so cool about Into the Box is we have such a broad appeal in terms of our target audience. We've got our 1-bedroom models made out of a 20-foot container. We've got our 2-bedroom models made out of a 40-foot container. And with that combination, we're able to target solo travelers, whether it be for business or pleasure. We're able to target couples retreats, friend groups, families. In fact, we think we'll be especially popular with families, given that actually, at this point, research has shown that over 60% of families are opting for these outdoorsy locations. They don't want to be in the midst of an urban environment, and nearly as many families are looking to drive instead of fly. And that's great from an environmental standpoint because, well, from a carbon emission standpoint, flying is one of the worst things you can do. Additionally, private listings have just skyrocketed in popularity if they're in remote locations. So really the trends across so many different classes of travelers, but especially families, are really pointing in a positive direction for Into the Box.
So getting into more of this new generation of travelers, our data shows that 70% of people ages 18 to 44 are actually more likely to stay in a short-term rental instead of a hotel for their vacation stays. So this is a huge shift. It was probably quite the opposite a decade before, but here we are now. And we're catering to this demographic of people who are looking for that unique experience in a new place. And we also have data, 81% of Gen Z travelers have already stayed in a vacation home, a cabin, a condo, some kind of short-term rental at some point in their lives. So this is bringing a new edge and element to something that has already been generally accepted. We are excited for them to follow our brand and see what kind of themes will be deployed. And here's a great quote we have from Unidays. Gen Zers travel consistently year-round while still preferring to make spur-of-the-moment travel plans, presenting the global travel industry with an always-on, ever-renewable opportunity. So we're confident that many Gen Zers would love the sustainability and theme aspects of our boxes for their next vacation.
So kind of tying back into that regenerative travel movement, it's really, really, really important Into the Box that we are good local community stewards for the places we're dropping our boxes. These communities are gracious enough to open their doors to us and to our travelers and our guests. And we want to, in return, be respectful and responsible in the way we drop it. Unfortunately, we've seen several other short-term rental startups that will just go into a small town and drop 30, 40, 50 plus units, and it strains, if not obliterates, that local hospitality economy. It's outsourcing, tourism dollars out of state. It's just not good for this local economy. And so we pledged to not follow that trend, but to actually prop up these communities and these businesses. Additionally, one really cool thing is, given our pop-up circuit and our ever-changing lineup of boxes, every time a new box drops in a location, we're able to bring an influx of new and repeat tourists. So, say you visited the 70s box in Asheville a month ago, say you live in Atlanta. Well, 3 months later, you've got the Y2K box there, and you're going to be a repeat customer, and you're going to come visit. And so from a community stewardship standpoint, we are bringing repeat tourism dollars into these small, oft-overlooked communities. And to kind of give you an idea of how we're going about selecting those communities, our general guidelines are, first and foremost, wherever we drop a box, we want to connect our guests, or I'll say reconnect our guests with nature. So many beautiful environments across this country that, quite frankly, traditional hotels just can't operate in, whether it be for economic or legal reasons. So we want to drop our boxes in those spaces. We want to be located within roughly 3 hours drive, 200 miles of at least 5 million people or more, so that we can really make an impact on a large portion of the population and give as many people the opportunity to experience off-grid living as possible. And then finally, kind of going back to that community stewardship, we want to be located within 20 minutes of a community of at least 500, because we want to make sure the local community has enough resources at hand that we are not going to be a strain on them.
So we're ultimately building into the box to be scalable and grow efficiently. So we have a two-phase development process that we use. The first phase, we create the base of the box, which includes the framing, utilities, basic build out, everything you need to live. It's basically a livable shell. And then second, we apply the unique theme to the box by expert designers who have a vision and passion for this. And they're truly creating a one-of-a-kind product. And this two-step process also allows us to outsource the building of a basic box while retaining artist control over the themes and the finishings of the box. And at the core of our philosophy, we want these boxes to be available to everyone. So not only are the boxes designed to be operational within just 6 hours of arrival, but they're designed to be transported by any electric 1-ton pickup truck around the country.
So we really feel like ITB has several factors playing into our ability to generate some great returns for our investors, because at the end of the day, we understand that we are a for-profit business, and while we care very much about what we're doing and our core mission and values are what drive us, given that we are opening ourselves to a Regulation CF fundraise, an equity raise at that, we know that it's important for us to also present some pretty attractive returns. So some of the ways we're going to do that, first and foremost, in today's day and age, there's something called an ethical premium. And so that goes back to what I was saying about Gen Z, millennial are more conscious than ever about supporting companies and businesses that are environmentally sustainable, and they'll pay a premium to do so. Additionally, our one-of-a-kind themed experiences command a premium. This is not the situation where you check into the hotel and then you have to leave and go find the experience, find the entertainment. It's all built in, it's all rolled into one. It's immersive. This is the one-stop shop, if you will. It's a whole, from the moment you check in to the moment you check out, it's a full experience encapsulated in an amazing environment off-grid. Additionally, the fact that we're popping up for a limited time, there's a sense of urgency there. If you know that we'll say the Paris box is going to be in Joshua Tree for only 3 months, well, you better book quickly before dates sell out. And then finally, one thing that's really cool is we're partnering with AirDNA, which is a short-term rental data aggregation service, to analyze rental data across thousands of rentals all across the country, to really use dynamic pricing up to the minute, making sure that we are charging the right rate for our boxes, for our locations. And the other cool thing about that is we are able to financially model how well a box will do before it ever leaves the factory. So, for these 4 reasons, we really think that we've got some great opportunity to produce some great returns.
So we have some big growth goals for Into the Box. As our brand grows, people are going to be excited to see where the next box is going to be dropped in, what the theme will be. And we plan to use economies of scale in that 2-phase development process we discussed earlier to drop these boxes nationwide. So you can see in the graph here what our projections are, and we're really excited to get building.
So given that this is an SEC registered raise, it's very important to us that we are completely transparent with our investors in terms of where the money's going. So you'll notice these 2 charts show whether our minimum is sold or our maximum is sold, kind of an idea of what that split will look like. You'll see they're pretty similar. We're looking at the lion's share going to, of course, container acquisition and build out, employee hiring and retention, some budget in there for marketing. The big difference is, we are able to really sell a significant amount of shares. We're going to move from a leasing model to an ownership model. And so that'll be really exciting for us should that come to fruition.
So our successes so far, we're very excited about it. Number one, we're currently negotiating a contract with a major set design studio that provides craftsmen in the studio space and management for box build out. Who better to create these themes than people who work in the movie business? And then next, we have a contract with Mobile Mod. They're providing us discounted shipping containers that we can continue to deploy across the country. And then we're very fortunate that we've had a lot of interest so far just on social media alone. We've been embraced by the US tiny home and off-grid influencers in that community. We have over 5,000 followers so far on Instagram just since December. And we've developed partnerships, for example, with an off-the-grid influencer. Her name is Whitney Wildflower. She totally lives an off-the-grid lifestyle, and she's an amazing resource and part of our team. And we've also been featured on a popular travel and vacation home Instagram page called The Cabin Land. They have over 500,000, or is it 800,000? I think they have over 800,000 now. Yeah, they have over 800,000 followers and a huge social media presence. So again, that community has taken to us very well, and we only see that it's going to continue to grow. And we have multiple other social media partnerships underway. So the brand is just beginning, but we're continuously growing.
Thanks so much, Chris and Maya. That concludes our presentation, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around. We are about to go into the Q&A portion of the webinar. But before we do, I'll just say that should an offering go live, there will be a limited number of shares. If you'd like to reserve shares before we go live, please send us an email with your anticipated investment amount to invest@intothebox.net. We can also answer any questions you may have in that email. And again, for the Q&A portion, please go ahead and submit your question in the Q&A box on the bottom right of your screen, and I'll read that out to the team. All right. Looks like our first question is from Zoe. Where will the first round of boxes be dropped?
Okay, Zoe, I will answer that for you. I can't disclose the exact locations of all of our first round boxes, but I can share that the first box will be in Joshua Tree, one in the Smoky Mountains, and another in Florida. So stay tuned because we're gonna have several more locations.
Great, thanks, Maya. Got another question here from Ray. Ray asked, how will you pick themes for your boxes?
Well, I guess I'll take that one. What's really cool about Into the Box is, again, we're all about the community. So all of our user base who's a member of our email newsletter list actually gets the opportunity to vote on new themes. So periodically, we will go ahead and send out an email survey and solicit ideas and see what's most popular, and may the best idea win. And if you're not a member of our newsletter, go ahead and sign up online at www.intothebox.net, and you can get yourself on that list for when it comes time to do those surveys.
Awesome. And I'm seeing one other question here from Jasmine. She's asking, what amenities will your boxes have?
Ooh, I'll answer that. Okay, so our boxes are designed to just have all the amenities that you would have at home. So a fully stocked kitchen and other amenities just based on the box theme. So, if you're in an 80s theme or 70s theme, maybe we're going to throw in some cool amenities that'll be a surprise and special to that particular box. And we're also dedicated to the regenerative travel movement. We will be partnering with local communities to help provide our travelers with services like laundry. So you can expect all the comforts of home in our boxes.
Awesome. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you again to everyone for joining. We'll continue to post our progress updates on Instagram, which our handle is at Into the Box Official, as well as on our Into the Box Facebook and LinkedIn pages. So join us along to follow our progress. And thank you all, and we'll see you all very soon.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Bye.